Here is your latest Africa news. African football star in constant attack since his move from Liverpool to the German giants, Bayern Munich.
You kill me every day. You want me to talk to you guys? Come on.
Having joined Bayern from Liverpool last season and has been consistently facing harsh treatment from the German media. Initially, the Senegal international had intended to stay and fight for his place in the team. However, recent reports suggest that he is now considering other options beyond Bayern. When questioned about his future at Bayern, the Senegal international gave a blunt response to the journalist, claiming he has been unfairly treated. "You are killing me every day, and now you want to talk," he exclaimed. Sadio Mane's statement sheds light on a broader issue of racism that African football players, as well as players from other minority backgrounds, have encountered in European football. Racism in European football has been a long-standing problem, with players of African descent often facing discriminatory treatment both on and off the field. Sadio Mane's experiences with the harsh German media reflect a pattern that many African players have endured throughout their careers. Media outlets play a significant role in shaping public perceptions and attitudes towards football players, and bias in various European countries. Racial abuse on social media, discriminatory chants from fans during matches, and prejudiced media coverage are just some of the ways racism has manifested in the football world. Now, players like Sadio Mane have had enough and are now calling out these journalists. Let us know in the comments below if you found this video informative. Please show your support by liking and sharing this video for the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. And always remember, Africa is watching. Here is your latest Africa news. The West is accused of trying to sabotage the upcoming Russia-Africa summit. The Russia-Africa summit, set to take place on 27th and 28th of July, has drawn the attention of Western powers, particularly the United States, who are concerned about Russia's increasing influence on the continent. For many African countries, this event holds potential for beneficial partnerships and economic opportunities with Russia, which could help foster development and growth in the region. African leaders view this summit as an opportunity to engage in discussions with President Vladimir Putin on various important matters, including trade, security, arms deals, and grain supplies. However, there are concerns that the West, led by the United States, has tried to exert pressure on African nations to discourage their participation in the summit. The Kremlin has accused Western embassies, particularly those of the US and France, of actively trying to sabotage the event. This raises questions about the principles of sovereignty and the ability of African states to independently decide on their partnerships and collaborations with other countries. It is worth noting that the US has also hosted its own US-Africa Leaders Summit in Washington to strengthen alliances with African nations, amidst growing competition from Russia and China for influence on the continent. This indicates the strategic importance of Africa for global powers, as they seek to expand their economic and geopolitical interests in the region. As the summit approaches, African nations are balancing their desire for meaningful collaborations and economic opportunities with the need to protect their own interests and sovereignty. They are carefully considering the implications of any agreements and commitments that may arise from the summit. So far, 50 out of 54 African countries will be attending the summit. In conclusion, the Russia-Africa Summit is a crucial event for African countries, providing an opportunity to engage with Russia on a range of important issues. The pressure from Western powers highlights the significance of Africa as a powerful strategic region in global affairs. Let us know in the comments below if you found this video informative. Please show your support by liking and sharing this video for the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. And always remember, Africa is watching. Here is your latest Africa news. Mali has just dropped French as its official language. Mali has taken a significant step in reshaping its identity as an independent nation by removing French as its official language, a move that comes more than 6 decades after gaining independence from French colonial rule. The decision was recently enshrined in the country's new constitution, which was adopted this year. The Constitutional Court of Mali validated the final results of a June referendum on the draft constitution, with an overwhelming 96.91% approval from voters. As per the new constitution, French will still retain its position as the primary working language in the country for the moment, till other alternatives are made available. However, a noteworthy change is the formal recognition of the 13 national languages spoken within Mali as official languages. This recognition signifies a long overdue acknowledgement of the linguistic diversity and cultural richness that exists within the nation. Moreover, the new constitution retains an additional 70 local languages, including Bambara, Bobo, Dogon, and Minyanka, some of which were previously granted national language status through a decree in 1982. Preserving these local languages reflects the government's commitment to nurturing the unique heritage of various regions within Mali. Mali's interim president Assimi Goïta declared that the implementation of the new constitutional framework marks the inception of the Fourth Republic in the former French colony. This significant moment signals Mali's renewed path as an independent and sovereign nation. The decision to remove French as the official language also reflects the evolving dynamics in the relationship between Mali and its former colonial ruler, France. In recent years, there has been a noticeable surge in anti-French sentiment across France's former West African colonies. This sentiment has been fueled by France's continued exploitation of its former colony. France's decision to withdraw its troops from Mali in August marked the end of a 9-year military operation aimed at combating armed groups in the region. The withdrawal further impacted the bilateral relations between Paris and Bamako, leading to a halt in development aid to Mali and the cessation of operations for NGOs and aid groups funded by France in the country as punishment for the rebellion. In conclusion, Mali's decision to remove French as its official language and the formal recognition of national and local languages within the country represents a crucial step in asserting its cultural identity and linguistic diversity. This move comes amidst a period of political transformation and rebuilding, as Mali looks forward to the establishment of a new democratic era. As the nation embarks on the journey of the Fourth Republic, it stands as an example of asserting national sovereignty and promoting linguistic and cultural heritage. Other countries, including Rwanda, have also taken similar strides in recognizing and preserving their local languages, emphasizing the importance of embracing diversity and cultural richness on a global scale. Let us know in the comments below if you found this video informative. Please show your support by liking and sharing this video for the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. And always remember, Africa is watching. Welcome to Africa, to the world.
Mr. President, at the outset, I would like to appreciate for the warm welcome extended to me and my delegation since our arrival to this beautiful city. This is my first time to be this city, but I found it very beautiful. Culturally, I knew how Russia was close to my country in terms of culture, in terms of diplomacy, as you have mentioned. We have a very long history. We've been passing through lots of ups and downs together. This visit, in my opinion, will strengthen our relationship. We're going to discuss on both bilateral, multilateral issues as well. And we're going to discuss about technology, cybersecurity, economic exchange, trade. I hope this will be a very fruitful discussion. We're very happy. We're very glad to be here to join our fellow Africa leaders for the summit. Besides that, we also have deepest interest to discuss with you as a friend, as a brotherly country, both on our bilateral issues and regional issues. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Let us know in the comments below what you think of this video and if this African has represented the continent well. Please show your support by liking and sharing this video for the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. And always remember, Africa is watching.
We shouldn't just be talking and saying nice things, but we should see good results from the very things we intend to do or we say we want to do.
Welcome to Candid Africa, truthful and unapologetic.
These visits make the distance between Rwanda and Congo very short. It compresses the distance. And it means that being example, that's how we want Africa and the countries on our continent to relate. Working together on tangible foundation, actions, and results that we can see when people are investing in each other's countries. And if we do business with each other, and if we see development on both sides of Congo and Rwanda coming up and going beyond our own borders, the two visits are just about that. They're about creating first the connection of the two countries, but through that, connect with the rest of the continent and allow the rest of the continent to connect with us through different means. And it means we are there for each other. When there is any problem in one country, we can work together to address it. If it is in another, the same thing. That's how really people should be living together. We shouldn't allow these artificial barriers to prevent people from doing what they should be doing for themselves. So that's, I think, the message is clear. It has been clear for a long time. we shouldn't just, and I will agree entirely with the president, that we shouldn't just be talking and saying nice things, but we should see good results from the very things we intend to do or we say we want to do. That's when we shall have given the meaning of to that interaction and the crossing of bridges to either Congo or Rwanda. I think the journalists or the critics are doing their job. Let's do our job too. Thank you.
There we have it. That has been our candid speech for today. Please feel free to give your opinions in the descriptions below. On this show, we don't tell you how to think or manipulate you. Everybody is open to air the opinion, what you think about the speech. Did you love it? Did you like it? Do you disagree with it? Do you agree with it? Please let us know in the comments below. That's important. Discussing these issues is very important. So now with that said, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share this video with friends and family. It's the best way for YouTube to spread this video further, okay? So it's been me, Mikey Mushi from Tunacheki. And always remember, Africa is watching.
Here is your latest Africa news. Niger president, another ally of France, ousted in latest coup in Francophone Africa. President Mohamed Bazoum of Niger has been ousted from power in the latest military coup in West Africa. This marks the 7th coup in the region since 2020, a consequence of Western countries like France intervening in the Sahel region. Niger, a landlocked country in West Central Africa, has been a crucial ally for Western powers, particularly French President Emmanuel Macron. However, the new military juntas in charge in Mali and Burkina Faso have caused friction with these Western nations. For instance, France had to relocate troops from Mali to Niger in 2022 due to deteriorating relations with the interim authorities in Mali. Additionally, France withdrew special forces from Burkina Faso amid similar tensions. President Bazoum had been seen as the main hope for the West in the Sahel region. Western countries such as France, the US, and the EU had invested significant resources in supporting Niger and its security forces. With his removal from power, there are concerns from the West that this regional leaders promptly organized a mediation mission in an attempt to prevent further escalation. The president situation and met with the Nigerian president and ECOWAS chairman, Bola Tinubu. Talon emphasized that all means would be utilized, if necessary, to restore constitutional order in Niger, but he hoped for a peaceful resolution. The African Union and the West African Regional Bloc, ECOWAS, condemned the attempted coup d'etat. The region around Niger has faced instability in recent years, earning it the reputation of a coup belt. Frustration over the government's failure to prevent violent attacks on towns and villages has been a driving force behind recent coups in Mali and Burkina Faso since 2020. Additionally, Guinea experienced a military takeover in 2021. Furthermore, there was a thwarted coup attempt in Niger in March 2021, just days before the newly elected President Bazoum was supposed to be sworn in. Let us know in the comments below if you found this video informative. Please show your support by liking and sharing this video for the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. And always remember, Africa is watching.
Zimbabwe has been under these sanctions from the West for the last 23 years. But as a result, we now think outside the box.
Welcome to Candid Africa, truthful and unapologetic.
In view of the sanctions imposed on both our countries and the subsequent challenges in undertaking US dollar denominated transactions, Zimbabwe is agreeable to pursue alternative autonomous solutions and the use of alternative forms of payment for various transactions I'm happy that the Russian Federation has already accomplished this as a result of the sanctions imposed on your republic. Your Excellency and dear brother, allow me to convey my sincere gratitude for the donation of 11,000 metric tons of potash fertilizer and 9,000 metric tons of ammonium nitrate fertilizer. This gesture is true testimony of the friendship of the Russian Federation to the people of Zimbabwe. This further reflects your personal commitment to support the transformation of our country's agriculture in the attainment of food security and sovereignty. I thank you. May I also inform you that for 3 years now, Zimbabwe is food secure. With the model of agriculture we've adopted and the support we've received from your country, I believe that Zimbabwe will remain food secure. Most notable is the deepening cooperation between Zimbabwe and Russian Federation in advanced science and space technology. I recall the joint research implementation agreement between Zimbabwe National Geospatial Agency, ZINCSA, and the Southwest University on Space Science and Technology Innovation, which was signed in October 2021. This has ultimately led to the finalization of the design, manufacture, and assembly, and the testing of a satellite, ZimStat-2, under which scholarships were offered to Zimbabwean students to study in the Russian Federation. Additionally, the Russian Federation provided 20 scholarships through Radny University in various fields of nuclear education. The 20 candidates under the scholarships are scheduled to commence their studies in September this year. Our Zimbabwean institutions are ready to promote more direct partnerships with educational and research institutions of the Russian Federation. May I also, Your Excellency, mention that in the same vein, I acknowledge the support of the Russian Federation of the Museum of African Liberation Project being hosted by Zimbabwe, hosted for the African continent. In particular, the establishment of the Russia Solidarity Movement at the Liberation City. Further, we welcome the raising of the Russian Federation flag at the Liberation Museum site as an important symbolic gesture, recognizing the immense contribution of the Russian Federation in the liberation of the African continent from colonialism. On international cooperation, Your Excellency, the solid collaboration between our two countries at multilateral fora, more so against continued Western aggression against the two countries, Zimbabwe strongly opposes the use of sanctions as a foreign policy tool which undermines sovereignty of nations. Zimbabwe has been under these sanctions from the West for the last 23 years. But as a result, we now think outside the box and use our domestic resources to grow and expand our economy. May I highlight that Zimbabwe intends to bid for a non-permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council for the period 2027 to 2028. We appeal for the support of the Russian Federation. Similarly, Zimbabwe submitted a request to you, Your Excellency, to join the BRICS New Development Bank. We equally count on the support of Your Excellency in this endeavor. Your Excellency, allow me to personally state that Zimbabwe is in solidarity with the Russian Federation in your country's special military operation in the Ukraine. As current chair of the Kimberley Process Certification Scheme, the KPC, Zimbabwe unreservedly condemns the unjustified and vindictive ban on the sale of Russian diamonds on the world market. We reassure you, Your Excellency, the Russian Federation of Zimbabwe support
Everybody is open to air the opinion, what you think about the speech. Did you love it? Did you like it? Do you disagree with it? Do you agree with it? Please let us know in the comments below. That's important. Discussing these issues is very important. So now with that said, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share this video with friends and family. It's the best way for YouTube to spread this video further, okay? So it's been me, Mikey Mushi from Tunacheki. And always remember, Africa is watching.
Here is your latest Africa news. Coup leader General Abdurrahmane Tiani made an announcement stating that the coup was carried out due to the degradation of the security situation as he addressed the nation. Here is his full statement.
The declaration of the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland. My dear compatriots, on Wednesday, the 26th of July, 2023, the Forces of Defense and Security gathered under the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland, CNSP, to put an end to the regime of the Seventh Republic. The action of the CNSP is motivated by the sole preoccupation of preserving our dear homeland, faced in part with the degradation of the security situation in our country, and for which our authorities didn't leave a real solution for a way out of the crisis. And the other part is for the bad economic and social governance. I reiterate the appeal of the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland for serenity, calm, vigilance, and patriotism. For together in unison, we can overcome the security, economic, and social challenges mentioned before. To the international community, the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland reaffirms its willingness to respect all international engagements to which the Republic of Niger subscribes, including to human rights.
Supporters of the coup flooded the streets of Niamey on Wednesday after the military imposed a curfew and shut the borders of the West African country. Soldiers claimed to have ousted Mohamed Bazoum, the democratically elected president of Niger, on Wednesday, declaring that the government had been dissolved. Bazoum had agreed last year with France that it could move its troops to Niger from Mali, its neighbor to the west. International reactions to the coup have been mixed, with some countries expressing concern about the suspension of democracy, while others acknowledge the gravity of Niger's security challenges. The African Union and ECOWAS have already issued statements condemning the coup and calling for a swift return to constitutional governance. Let us know in the comments below if you found this video informative. Please show your support by liking and sharing this video for the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. And always remember, Africa is watching.
They pretended to ban slavery, but it came again in a different form.
Welcome to the African Leadership Series, where we bring you great inspirational speeches of African leaders.
As we are gathered here today, we must ask ourselves, and what is the state of our continent? What is the state of Pan-Africanism? I remember so very vividly in this land, in this South Africa, in this land where one of the greatest crimes ever committed by man was unleashed, the crime of apartheid. In this land, there came men who, in their misguided view, took the view that the black man was the child of a lesser God. They introduced one of the most egregious crimes ever known to man. They committed crimes of man's inhumanity to man. For many years, this land suffered under the yoke of apartheid. But you are not alone. Before that, the African was subjected to slavery. Our kith and kin were taken away taken away into different parts of the world. They were taken away to Europe. They built Europe. They were taken away to the United States of America. They built the United States of America. They were taken away to the Caribbean. They built the Caribbean. Then after slavery had lost its lust and attraction, they pretended to ban slavery, but it came again in a different form. In Berlin in 1884 and 1885, those same diabolical peoples divided our continent into little pieces. They came here. The Dutch were here. They went to what is now Namibia. The Germans were here. They went to Angola and Mozambique and Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde. The Portuguese were here. They came to Nyasaland. They came to what was then Rhodesia and Zambia. And they went to Kenya and Uganda and Ghana and Nigeria and Sierra Leone and Gambia. The British were here. Then the French also came. They were here. They went to Dahomey, now Benin, to Togo, to Cameroon, to Cote d'Ivoire, to Senegal, to Mauritania, to Algeria. The French were here. The Italians were here. They came to Somalia. They went to Libya. They were here. The Belgians were here. They went to Congo. The Spanish were here. They went to Sao Tome and Principe. They were here. The Belgians, of course, and the Germans went to Rwanda and Urundi. They were here. All of them were here. And what they did was to remind us, if we needed reminding at all, that they were here to stay. They abused us. We fought against them wherever they were. The Mau Mau fought them in Kenya. They fought them in Tanganyika. They fought them in Ghana. And we defeated them and we started regaining our independence. I can still hear those immortal words of the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah on the 6th day of March 1957 in Accra, Ghana, telling his Ghanaian peoples that the independence of Ghana means nothing if the rest of Africa is not independent. I can hear the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah convening a meeting in 1958 and telling Africans we must unite now, because if we don't unite, we will be manipulated. Nobody listened to the Osagyefo. I can hear the Osagyefo once again in 1916, Casablanca, Morocco, accompanied as he was by King Idris of Libya on that day. In their presence was Ahmed Sékou Touré of Guinea. In their presence was King Hassan of Morocco, reminding Africa once again that we must unite. But they listened to him not. Again, on the 24th day of May 1963 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, telling the 32 heads of states gathered in Addis Ababa, we must unite now. We must have one army. We must have one currency. We must have one foreign policy. We must be united. And I can hear the Osagyefo saying, I do not want to be the leader of that country. I simply want unity. And I'm saying that we must live here with one united government. They listen not to the Osagyefo. Hands were alive then. No sooner had we regained political independence, as we were celebrating our new national anthems, as we were celebrating our new flags, as we were celebrating our new mottos and slogans, the neo-colonizer was alive and well. In 1961, they had taken out Patrice Emery Lumumba. And I can remember that famous letter of Patrice Emery Lumumba written in 1961. One day, even if you kill my body, Africa shall write our history. Today we are here to write that history. I can hear, even as they took out Patrice Emery Lumumba, and in 1963 they took out Sylvanus Olympio in Togo. I can hear Sylvanus Olympio say, "Take me out, but Africa shall not be taken out." I'm here to remind us that Africa shall not be taken out. They did not stop there. In 1966, they took out the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah and took him out of power and thought that they had finished the Osagyefo. And I can hear and read the Osagyefo writing from Guinea in Conakry say, "Africa shall never be enslaved again." We are here to remind them that we shall never be enslaved again. And they did not stop there. They went to Nigeria. And Nigeria, they took out the government of Nnamdi Azikiwe and Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. They had finished Nigeria. They did not, because Africa can never be finished. They did not stop there. They went to Mali and they thought that they had taken out Modibo Keita, and they thought that Mali would not be taken out. They did not take Mali out. They did not stop there. They went to Algeria and took out Ahmed Ben Bella, and they thought that Algeria would be taken out. They did not take Algeria out. But the neo-colonial project is alive and well, because even as that was happening, South Africa was still under the yoke of the apartheid regime. And I can hear the words of the great South Africans at that time as a young student. I can still remember the words of O.R. Tambo. I can still remember from Angola the words of Agostinho Neto. I can still remember the words of Eduardo Mondlane and Samora Moises Machel. I can still remember the words of Sam Nujoma and Andy Mbahaman Toivo from Namibia. I can still remember. And ultimately, you succeeded in removing the organ, the monster that was apartheid. In Zimbabwe, I can still remember Joshua Nkomo and Robert Mugabe, and they removed that monster that was the Ian Smith regime. But the question is, once we removed them, what did we do? This is the question. You know, when we remove them, we make unto ourselves many promises. We promise unto ourselves heavens. Of missed opportunities. We sing our national anthems as we should. We fly our flags as we should. We have our slogans as we should. But yet, we have fallen short of the expectations of both God and man. That is why when I look at Africa today, sometimes I feel sad.
Please Feel free to give your opinions in the descriptions below, what you think about the speech. Did you love it? Did you like it? Do you disagree with it? Do you agree with it? Please let us know in the comments below. That's important. Discussing these issues is very important. So now with that said, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share this video with friends and family. It's the best way for YouTube to spread this video further, okay? So it's been me, Mikey Mushi from Tunachiki. And always remember, please watching.
Today, on account of modern medicine, Africa will have optimal population for the first time in human history.
Welcome to Candid Africa, truthful and unapologetic.
I have had the good fortune of watching and participating in freedom activities in our area for the last 60 years plus. In order to understand the struggles we have been involved in, we should be reminded that by 1900, the whole of Africa had been colonized except for Ethiopia. This colonization followed 500 years of taking slaves from Africa and the devastation that criminal trade caused. It was not only Africa that was colonized, but much of Asia, India, Indonesia, Indochina, Burma, the Philippines, Malaysia, etc., and the subjugation and extermination of the indigenous people of the Americas and Australia. However, to launching a resistance movement by some of the Black people in the United States of America, in the persons of Du Bois and Pademont, who launched the Pan-African movement. This was the first step. Secondly, in 1912, the African National Congress of South Africa was launched, led by new resistance fighters, different from before, when the leaders of the resistance were the kings and chiefs, such as Kabarega of Uganda, Mukwawa of Tanzania, Lobengula of Zimbabwe, Mwanga of Uganda. Thirdly, the huge country of the Soviet Union was taken over by communists in 1917, and so was the huge country of China in 1949. Those communists were staunch anti-imperialists. Fourthly, our good fortune was that the greedy imperialists started fighting among themselves over us. I'm referring here to the so-called First and Second World Wars. In effect, these were inter-imperialist wars vying for domination of the world. In those wars, the imperialists weakened themselves to the advantage of the anti-colonial movement. That is how India, Pakistan, Indonesia, etc. got independence. Some of the imperialists tried to cling to colonies, but they were defeated. Mozambique, Angola, Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and South Africa. Fifthly, even within the imperialist countries, we had allies that were against the evil system. People like Fena Brockway, Dingo Food, Olof Palme were with us and with our parents before us in opposing this evil system. It is these 5 factors that caused the defeat of the imperialism and restored our sovereignty to some extent. These are, again, the anti-colonial movement in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, the rise of communism in the Soviet Union, China, Cuba, North Korea, etc., the two inter-imperialist wars of the last century that caused the weakening of the imperialist countries to our advantage, even when our parents were used as cannon fodder in those criminal wars, fighting the Japanese in Burma, the Italians in Ethiopia, the Germans in North Africa and Europe. Then fifth, the Pan-African movement launched by some of the Black people in the United States of America, and the support by some fair-minded persons in the imperialist countries, persons, as I've already said, like Fena Brockway, Dingo Foot, all of Parliament, and others. We are therefore happy to be here in Russia, and we take this opportunity to thank the Soviet peoples and other socialist countries for that support. However, flag independence did not, in the majority of cases in Africa, mean healthy disengagement with imperialist economies. Up to now, many of the African economies still face the bottlenecks and distortions of the colonial era. Although some progress has been achieved, a lot remains to be done. That is why you hear that the GDP of Africa is currently US dollars 2.7 trillion, smaller than the individual economies of countries like Japan, Germany, etc., not to mention United States or China. This stunting of the African economies is caused by a number of bottlenecks that I may not have time to enumerate here. We have, however, identified them, and we are handling them together with our brothers in the African Union. However, one example can bring out some of these bottlenecks. This is the issue of coffee. The global value of coffee businesses currently is US dollars 460 billion. 460 billion. This is the value of the coffee in the world. However, all the coffee producing countries in the world, Africa, Brazil, Colombia, Vietnam, all of us, take only US dollars 25 billion out of this. The coffee business in the world, 460 billion. All of us, the coffee producers in the world, our share, $25 billion. Africa's share is US dollars 2.5 billion. Out of the 460 billion, Africa's share is 2.4 billion. With Uganda taking $800 million, because we are now producing 800 million bags of 60 kilograms each. Germany, a non-coffee producing country, earns US dollars from coffee, 6.85 billion from coffee, more than all the African coffee producing countries. My young friend from Burkina Faso was asking about this, where the problem is. I could see he's very worried, our young soldier there. So you have the answer here. This is part of modern slavery. This is the modern slavery. What is causing this? Africa being locked into and also locking itself into only producing raw materials of agriculture, minerals, etc., and abstaining from adding value. A kilogram of good coffee today earns about US dollars 2.5. The same kilogram roasted and processed outside Africa earns about US dollars 40. So we get $2.5 for a kilo of coffee. Somebody who is clever outside gets $40. This is the hemorrhage that has stunted Africa's growth. There are other bottlenecks, but I do not have time to go into them. Therefore, my proposal to our allies of Russia, India, China, etc., is to point out to them that they could help here by policy decisions to buy value-added products from Africa rather than raw materials. Those are products like processed coffee instead of bean coffee, chocolate instead of cocoa beans, textiles instead of just cotton, steel instead of iron ore. Iron ore, we call it, our languages are richer than English, we call it Utare. Utare, that's iron ore, different from the metro. Electric batteries instead of just lithium, etc. Part of the issues we are solving among ourselves in Africa is the issue of the free flow of goods and services in the continental free trade area. If this is addressed, the other problem of food, which people are talking about so much, for African societies, will also be partially addressed. In Uganda, we don't have a problem of food. Uganda is a net exporter of food. Products like maize, milk, bananas, fruits, fish, cassava, not to mention beverages like coffee, tea, cocoa, vanilla, etc., are produced in big quantities, and with irrigation, bigger quantities are possible. Without irrigation, our farmers produce 5.3 tons of bananas per hectare. With irrigation and fertilizers, that production has gone 53 tons per hectare in some of the government-supported farms. It is therefore important for our partners to know that some of the African countries, such as Uganda, produce huge quantities of food, and moreover, food of unique nutritional value, beef with yellow fat, instead of the cholesterol-laden types you get from many parts of the world, potassium-rich bananas, high cream milk, fish with a nuni neuropathic bladder that is a cure for some maladies, millet with protein, carbohydrates, and iron together. What we actually need are markets in both Africa and beyond. This is part of the problem. Some of the African countries have got a lot of food, but they cannot sell it to the other countries because of the trade barriers within Africa. Secondly, you could also encourage your companies
Кроме того,
to
вы
invest in
можете
value
также
addition in Africa.
работать с
Definitely,
своими
this will
компаниями,
be
чтобы они сами
a
способствовали
win-win
созданию
formula
добавочной
for
стоимости
all
в
of us.
Африке.
Value addition to the abundant raw materials in Africa means more jobs for the unemployed African youth that are dying in the Mediterranean, trying to reach Europe, and more money in their pockets. They will then afford to pay for more electricity generated by turbines made from outside, which creates more jobs and money for the turbine producers outside. After some delays, we in Africa are making some good moves. One of them is the CFTA, the Continental Free Trade Area, that is uniting the huge market of Africa of 1.5 billion people. We shall be 2.5 billion in the next 30 years. Remember that Africa is 12 times bigger than India in land area. But until recently, the population of India has been bigger than that of Africa. Therefore, Africa has actually been underpopulated for much of the millennia. The fact that it is the origin of man, Homo sapiens sapiens, 4.5 million years ago, notwithstanding. Today, on account of modern medicine, Africa will have optimal population for the first time in human history. Finally, those who foment wars on account of ideological issues are wrong, and they are time and opportunity wasters. Human history will move on whether they like it or not. Did the religious wars in Europe impose religious conformity in the world? You remember there were people who wanted to make sure that everybody is a Catholic, wanted to make sure, and they were using war, and what happened? They failed. Did Metternich, there was the Austria of the Austro-Hungarian Empire called Metternich. Did Metternich's Holy Alliance stop the spread of capitalism and the overthrow of feudalism? When there was a revolution in France in 1789, this revolution was a bourgeois revolution, was a capitalist revolution. Now, Metternich was supporting feudalism, and his answer was to launch war to defeat the capitalist movement in France. But he failed. They only justified wars are the just wars, like the anti-colonial wars. Wars of hegemony will fail and waste time and opportunity. Dialogue is the correct way. I thank you. Thank you so much.
There we have it. That has been our candid speech for today. Please feel free to give your opinions in the descriptions below. On this show, we don't tell you how to think or manipulate you. Everybody is open to air the opinion, what you think about the speech. Did you love it? Did you like it? Do you disagree with it? Do you agree with it? Please let us know in the comments below. That's important. Discussing these issues is very important. So now with that said, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share this video with friends and family. It's the best way for YouTube to see this video further, okay? So it's been me, Mikey Mushi from Tanachiki. And always remember, Africa is watching.
In my opinion, Russia, Africa, China, other partners, even outside Africa, Latin America, Asia, developing this project.
Welcome to Candid Africa, truthful and unapologetic.
We need to further move towards identifying areas of cooperation within the strategy and prepare documents for concrete projects on each and every sector and industry. The sectoral and industrial planning within a broader strategy, taking stock of details that will have to be prepared for the mobilization of resources. In my opinion, Russia, Africa, China, other partners, even outside Africa, Latin America, Asia, developing this project and their manuals or details of the plans that will require the mobilization of resources. I would say this continent has, as we're told, has more than 60% of natural endowments globally. If this 60% could be mobilized to implement projects at a sectoral and industrial level, then we talk about the time frame for implementing these projects by mobilizing the required resources. I'm confident to say that the Russian Federation has all the industrial base and technology base to provide the support required for this strategic partnership between Russia and Africa, but also including other continents that will make their contributions at the final achievement of the goals. And the draft document will have to be prepared, I say now, and probably in the coming summit that will take place anytime next year, so that we have a clearly defined strategy. The strategy will have to include a number of sectoral and industrial plans, detailed plans on the timing of implementation, plus the mobilization of resources, not only material resources, financial resources, but also technological and industrial resources that will have to be mobilized to implement these detailed plans. The detailed plans could be implemented by putting in place mechanisms that will take every project on its own and implement, ultimately creating an integrated approach on implementing those particular programs. And this requires a lot of refinement on the institutions and then the mechanisms that we'll have to create. I would urge all those who have the resources above any other party, I would urge the Russian Federation to provide the support and make the contributions for detailing out the strategy, working out detailed plans on objectives that will be defined by clearly detailed the technological and quantifiable numbers, plus the time frame for implementing this project. Once we have this document ready, the contributions from each and every partner at the continental level, on the part of the Russian Federation, plus other global partners who will join our effort to change the reality in Africa, because the coming generation after 25 years will have a population of 2.4 or 2.5 billion within the continent, and their issues will have to be addressed at an earlier phase rather than later on facing challenge for the implementation of this project. I think this second summit will have to take stock of the preparation of this document so that each and every one of us will be ready or even working on some of the projects that will need mobilization of resources that we can make available to the success of this strategic summit. Once again, I would like to thank you, President Putin, for creating this conducive environment for exchanging ideas and developing consensus, but going beyond that to implementable, sustainable programs for the benefit of humanity, not only Russia and Africa. Thank you again.
There we have it. That has been our candid speech for today. Please feel free to give your opinions in the descriptions below. On this show, we don't tell you how to think or manipulate you. Everybody is open to air the opinion, what you think about the speech. Did you love it? Did you like it? Do you disagree with it? Do you agree with it? Please let us know in the comments below. That's important. Discussing these issues is very important. So now with that said, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share this video with friends and family. It's the best way for YouTube to spread this video further, okay? So it's been me, Mikey Mushi from Tunacheki. And always remember, Africa is watching.
So with that said, thank you for everybody who tuned in. We appreciate you guys. As always, please share this video after it finishes to friends and family. Please like this video. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. That's how YouTube knows it's a good video, and it will keep recommending it to more people, spreading our message, okay? So we really appreciate you guys. And as always, it's been me, Mikey Mushi from Tunacheki, and Africa is watching. Bye, guys.